What's up, everyone? We're going to be talking about whether you should get Luminar in 2020. So, after a bunch of YouTubers essentially promoted the shit out of Luminar when it first came out, such as Peter Mckinon and a bunch of other big photography YouTubers, I haven't seen them use it much, actually, throughout watching them over the past year, which is about how long Luminar has been out, or at least promoted it to us in that sense. So I figured I'd buy it for $50 and see if it's still worth it, because if it is, you definitely have my stamp of approval, since it is a one-time purchase and it's only $50, which is a big save in my opinion, because I'm all about saving money. So what I did was to get some old photos that we had here, and I got the stock version of it, essentially the photos without the edits, and we're gonna see if it's any good. So let me open up my Dropbox here. I should get this folder, and boom. So we have a few old photos, one of this Mini Cooper. Shout out to Sidewalk Stance. He did not let me take the picture of the car. I just happened to see it there at the time. But this car is pretty dope. Definitely one of my favorite cars I've ever seen. Like a Mini Cooper, that's pretty neat. So what I'm gonna do here is just go to this. Our sky's a little bit bland, so I think I'm gonna try to add in a sky maybe. Let's see what, I don't like it. But I feel like it's just not the right kind of sky for it. Maybe they got something more sunset-like. I still don't feel like it's quite there. Don't get me wrong, like the sky replacement is actually pretty good though. I mean, I don't know if this is supposed to be a glitch, but once I zoom in, it just disappears, if that makes sense. Which is part of the thing that I'm wondering, why is Luminar still so buggy? It's still a bit weird. I mean, at least the features for the most part seem to be working. So yeah, we got that going so far. The sky replacements look fine. Let's see what we can do for the midtones though. That's I think it's their midtones is toning. Yeah, so definitely not as not as good as Lightroom in the way that they display their midtones, but it works. So it looks like you gotta start with the saturation first. From there you can mess with your colors. So I don't really like this. I want it to be a little bit more kind of orange. The highlights, I think I'll go with a little bit of blue perhaps, just to try to even things out maybe. Then we're gonna go back to our light tab here, because I love my stuff very contrasty. So I want to see a lot of contrast here. Again, like I'm zooming in to like see more of what's going on here, but then I just lose the edit that I've just done. So I don't really see much all that well. I do want to put a little bit of highlights here just for the stuff like the grill of this car. Very, very nice. Let's see, as for the temperature, maybe a little bit of warmth. Boom. All right, this is kind of like how I came up with one of my presets. Definitely not exactly the same. Is it good? Yeah. I mean, coming from nothing, I would say Luminar is still worth it so far. We're just gonna breeze through these edits. I'm really just about seeing what's going on for it and seeing how it works. So let's mess with this composition. Clearly I could have done a lot better with framing the car. It would have been even better if I got the opportunity to frame the car in person, like, give the driver instructions, tell him what to do. But it was just one of those moments where it's a cool car. I saw it. It's like, might as well take a picture. So let's go ahead and apply that. I do think it's a little bit too cropped in, so I wanna fix that really quickly. Let's see if I can. I'm trying to. How do I activate the perspective? That's weird. I want to change. I think it's not straight, but I don't like. It's not fixing that per se, unless I'm not doing something right that I'm just not aware of. I don't know. Maybe there's just like a learning curve to it that I just don't know yet. Or maybe I need to go here, and that's what. Oh, okay, yeah, that's something. I see. I think I understand. Nope, that is just essentially your warp. Okay, let's move on because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with Luminar. But so far we got a crop that looks satisfactory. But again, we got a blonde sky, and Luminar was really advertised as like, oh, we can replace skies really fast and do cool shit. So let's add cool shit to it. I don't know why, but you know what? I'll tell you my 10 cents on Luminar so far. It's good. If you're trying to make basic edits, it's good. Their sky replacement feature, it's okay. If I'm being honest, I've seen mobile apps that pretty much do the same thing, so it's not really unique. It's not a unique thing anymore. Maybe like 10 years ago, if like somebody had this, there would have been like, oh my god, this is so quick. But we're in 2021. Even in 2020, there were apps on the App Store, Google Play that could do this shit. So this is not unique, nor is it really that good. Obviously, it's gonna need a little refinement. It does have the potential to be a little bit better. So mass refinement, I'm assuming that minimizing it, it's gonna change the opacity and make it a little bit, like blend it a little bit. But I'm not seeing any changes so far from doing that. So not sure exactly what the fuck is going on. Does it look good? Yeah, but the clouds are too big, and I don't want them that prominent, but I don't know how to change it, and I'm not seeing any changes so far. If I were to maximize global, has anything changed? Not that I'm seeing. So overall, Luminar's weird. Luminar's pretty weird. Scene lighting. Huh. Yeah, Luminar is definitely a bit weirder than I thought. Atmospheric haze. All I will say though, some of these actually are that bad. Actually, kind of decent. I mean, for some reason, I get iPhone vibes from this edit. I haven't messed with any tones or anything. I do think the clouds are a little bit too defocused though. But yeah, hey, this is actually very good comparing to where it came from. Like, look at this. Look at this. I can definitely recommend Luminar. It's actually pretty good now. It still has a few bugs, don't get me wrong, but I could actually recommend it compared to before. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and stick with that. Check out my Instagram, which is @code_Zan, but I'm pretty sure if you type in code Zan, I will show up first. Mostly sky replacements is what people advertise Luminar for being able to do, so that's what I'm focusing on. Obviously, there are some very nice features. I've edited portraits on this, I think it was last week. That was actually better than I expected. I did experience a lot of bugs. It was definitely a lot more problematic than it is now, but I'm not sure what's going on. Ever since I updated to Windows 10, this baby has been running smooth as hell. It still has bugs, don't get me wrong, but it's running better than before, which I like that. So I think it's worth the money. For $50, if you're looking for something that's just to start your editing, or even as a plugin to Lightroom or some other program that you might use depending on, I don't know, your preference of what you like to edit on, yeah, it might be your thing. Now I want to add a mask here. Basic, paint, gradient, perfect. Yeah, let's add a gradient right here. Something that's just to really put your focus towards the sky. So I want to make this a little bit darker. A little bit darker going up. A little bit darker. So we'll add some shadows here. A little bit more contrast. Perfect. See, it's like perfect. It's like editing 101. If it yeah. I mean, I do think it takes a little bit from the whites, to be honest. The car doesn't look as white as before. Just something simple. We can just go up here, go to our light tab, and just mess with the highlights just a little bit more. And yeah. I don't know. I like it. I think it's a lot better. I'll go with that. We got this, which is definitely more bland, but the first thing I'm gonna do here is mess with the colors. So I'm not gonna go to the HSL tab. Again, I'm gonna go down to the what do they call it? Toning. Yeah. So I want to go down to my toning, go to my highlights. In order to activate it, you have to mess with the saturation first, and then you can change your color. But I want to add some cyan to it. That's more like a green. I would say this is a lot better. That's too much. Okay, simple edits here. Simple edits. So we don't want to overdo that. I do want to add a little bit more to this. The sky, I like the sky. It's blue. It's a little empty. I don't know if some Luminar clouds are gonna fix that, but we're gonna mess with that in a second. Let's go ahead and add a little bit more into those highlights. I want to add some more contrast to the photo as well, just to get that done. And we've gotten that out of the way. Now, one color I don't really like in my photos is orange. It is kind of close to brown. I do like editing with brown sometimes, especially when, like, for the photos I took in New York. Love doing that. So I was going to try and take out the orange here from the lights and everything. I don't think it's necessary. We're just gonna leave that, and we are gonna just go straight to the sky section. Now it is day, so again we're gonna mess with those clouds. I feel like this might complement the photo. Well, we'll see what's going on here. I'm just waiting on the adjustments made, but is still not yet. Okay, that is terrible. Let's stick with this. I don't know why, but this seems to fit all the photos I've taken so far, and it works. It works. I do want to like take out some of the clouds. I feel like it's too strong. I haven't mastered it yet though. Scene lighting is not what I want to mess with. It says mass refinement, and I do want to, get this to be less bright, kind of like messing with the opacity where it kind of looks transparent. Obviously, as I master Luminar a little bit more, we'll get towards that, but the whole thing is just essentially a run through to see if Luminar is still worth the money. Do I think so? Yes. It is worth the money in my opinion. Coming from a whole year, I do think it should be better. If it's been out for a whole year or more, I do think it should be a better program. But I think it's also pretty good. I like how when you mess with the sky, it does recommend based on their AI what they think would fit the photo best. You also have the choice and you do have these settings, and I do like what they recommended me here. Am I gonna defocus that by 2 just a little bit? Yes. But what do we have now? A very nice photo. I am going to mess with the mid-tone a little bit though. I would like a little bit more brown, kind of orange look to the photo. So we're gonna go here. Again, we're gonna go to those shadows, bring up our saturation, and automatically it's looking a little bit better, but we can shift that just a bit, and boom, it's already looking great. So we got this amazing photo out of Luminar. I've heard that a lot of people have issues, including myself. I did have an issue when I first started using the program. A few issues, in fact, where I couldn't even make live adjustments. I would have to if I made an edit, I would have to go to a different photo and then go back to the picture that I'm actually editing to see the changes I've made. Again, I upgraded to Windows 11 and it just started working, so I can give it my seal of approval. However, I'm gonna let you know, if you're on Windows, chances are you might have issues with it, even if your PC does have a good build. I've seen people that have maybe like an Intel i7 build and some really good processors have that 16GB 34 RAM and all of that, and they still have issues with it. If you're on MacBook, it seems like a really safe bet. I've never heard anyone complain about it on Mac, so I think you're pretty safe on that end. But if you're on Windows, I can't make any guarantees. Do I think it's great for the one-time purchase? Yes, which is its main selling point to me. You don't have to pay for it monthly like Lightroom or Photoshop. It does the job. It does it fairly well, but if time is money for you and you might not want to buy it, but again, it's pretty affordable for $50, so it's kind of one of those things that you could buy, test it out for yourself. I think you can get a refund for it if it's not working out for you, and even if not, it might be one of those tools that you use and just forget about it until one day you use it again. So check out Luminar. I'm not sponsored because I'm small as hell and nobody cares, but I genuinely think it's good. Could be better, but it's still good.